Hi everyone. The topic for today's video is Introduction to Database Management System, that is DBMS. To understand what is a DBMS, we should know what is a data. Let us take an example. Consider a person. A person may be described in terms of name, age, color, height and so on. We call all these as facts about person. Now take another example, mobile phone. So we describe a mobile in terms of mobile company, price, model name, storage details, battery life and so on. We call all these as facts about mobile. So from these two examples we can say data means some raw facts. Data can be in any format like so a data can be some numbers, a data can be some text file, a data can be some image file, a data can be some audio file, or data can be some video file. So this is about data. Now let us see what is a database. Consider a college environment where we have different data like course data, staff data and students data. So a course data, it contains information about course ID, course name, etc. Now, a staff data, it may contain information like staff ID, staff name and course ID, etc. And similarly, a student data will contain information like student ID, student name, course ID, etc. These data are related with each other like a course is handled by staff, the staff may mentor the students and the students may take some courses. So all these data are collectively related to each other and are stored in a location in a computer called database. From this we can say database is a collection of related data. Now, why we want to go for a database? So, for this we have to take the file system. So, let us take an example. Now, you want to fill some application for getting admission into school or college. So, you have to fill some 4 or 5 pages of applications in paper. So, if this is a case with a single person, assume there are n number of that is students are joining for the colleges. So, the organization has to manage a bulk volume of paperwork. So the disadvantage is that they have to store all these papers in a building, so it needs some storage consumption, and also it will be subjected to some natural problems, calamities like fire and all. So we may lose some data. So to avoid all these situations and to speed up the process, we are going for the electronic storage of data. So we are about to fill the forms in online, so where these data are stored electronically by the organization into a database. So how these data are stored in the database? These data are stored in the form of tables. Say a college database, it contains two tables, department table and employee table. A department table may contain columns like department ID and department name, and employee may contain the columns like employee ID, employee name and department ID. So here the columns are called as attributes and rows are called as records or tuples. So this is about a database. So we have seen what is a data, what is a database. Now we shall see what is DBMS. So assume we have a database with a related collection of data which is connected to the back end of a computer where a user is sitting and using it. Now, the user may access the data to perform different operations like inserting a data into database from a form, updating some existing contents, deleting the unwanted data, and controlling access to certain fields or records in the database. And the next question arises, who can access the data and who will have access to which data? Say a student table can be accessed by both the student as well as the faculty. The student, they may access only their particular records, whereas the faculty may access all the records in the table. So next is representation of data. So the data which we have collected will be in some native form. This will be converted into a structured form or in a table form. That is, well organization is done. All these operations like insert data, update data, deletion, managing, control access and presentation of data, everything is supported by a system called database management system. Now, any system, it may comprise of some components like hardware. So hardware are a physical components which we can touch and feel, like a computer, printer, scanner, etc. Then we have the software. So the software are present inside the hardware, so which will enable the process to complete. So these softwares are controlled by the operating system. We have different software, application software for the database management system. So with the help of hardware and software, we have to handle the data. So to handle the data, we need some set of rules or instructions called procedures. And these procedures are written to the computer by means of some programming language. So these are all the components of this database management system. Now we have understood what is database management system. Let me show you some applications so that you can understand DBMS better. There are different applications of DBMS, say banking, education sector, credit card, etc., railway reservation system, library management system, and so on. So let me show you one application called banking. So for this, I am going to display two videos. First, tell what about banking. First video, it tells about what is a banking, and second video, it just shows you how to implement a database management system for the banking environment. So watch this video.
To impose a threshold for capital requirements.
Fine. So from this video, we can know that what are all the data that a bank is dealing with. So it deals with, say, borrower, customers, so and loan. What these are all the terms that the bank is concerned with. So we have to be familiar with all these terms, and only we can able to create an application of database management system for banking. So that is why you are seeing this video. So this is about the banking concept. Now let us see how this banking is implemented by a database management system. So now we have a bank management system. So you have a user interface where you have three logins: user login, manager login, and cashier login. So you have credentials like username and password. So these username and password, everything will be stored in the database. Now when you click on that user account, you have this information like your account information. So all these are nothing but the attributes which you will have it in your database tables. So there will be different tables like user table, manager table. So each and everything will be a relations or what to say, a data. Okay, so I have told you what is a data and how these data will be stored, right? So these are all the different data. So before developing an application, you should know what is the data you're dealing with and how these data can be related with each other. What are all facts these data may contain. So all these information you have to collect. So this is a simple application which is creating a user interface for that application. So they are displaying different kind of facts or informations. So these in user interfaces will be connected to a backend. So to create a backend, they have installed a local host, that is an open source server called XAMPP server. So these are all the fields, input fields. So when you give input to these fields, all this information will be stored in the backend called your database. I will show you how these data will be stored here. So we have the holder name. These are information that a bank manager or a person deal with. So they are dealing with different accounts details. So where each and every row contains information about some customers. So now, how to run the bank management system? So you have developed a user interface. Now to run a bank management system, you need a backend that is called database. So we are going to use the MySQL software in the backend. So first they have installed the XAMPP control panel from the resource, that is from online. So once it is installed, you have to set up certain parameters. So once it is set up, you have to go to the browser and type it as localhost. So you may find the online server from where you can create your database and connect it to your front end. So you have to choose my PHP myadmin and you have to create a new database. So this will create a new database for you. So here you have to execute that SQL statements. So we are going with MySQL statement. So they have just named the database as My Bank because you're creating an application for a banking application, DBMS for a banking application. And we have created a database. The database contains different tables as I have told you. So what are all the files? So they have choosing the file format for the tables. Now, once everything is done, we have to wait until we get a success message. So then only all our uh, functionalities are working properly. So they have created the tables for the banking application. So this is the login table which contains information like email address, password and type. So everything will be stored and we may validate or authenticate the person when they log into the system. So now they're going to run the system. So everything is done. So they have installed the system. So this is the database for checking for the login details. So when you give the credential here, manager login like manager@manager.com, so it will check at the backend whether everything is password is correct or not. So if it is correct and you give enter, it will log into the system successfully where you can find different options and work with that. So this is how a banking system is implemented with the help of database management system. So I hope you got some idea about what is banking with the help of database management system. Yes. So coming to the conclusion part, I summarize what we have seen today. That is, we have seen about data. Data means some raw facts. Database is a collection of related data, whereas DBMS is a system for organizing and managing the database. So that's all for today's video. Thank you for watching this video.